Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahawashi, Bahasham, Barakahagwadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off in Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach in the Apocrypha, chapter 41, verses 5 to 7. The children of sinners are abominable children, and they that are conversant in the dwelling of the ungodly. And when you have an understanding of the scriptures, you know that sin is the transgression of the laws, statutes, and commandments in the scriptures. And the biggest sinners out here who have created a global system that is completely contrary to the laws, statutes, and commandments in the Bible, and hell, just the Bible in general, are the biblical Edomites, known as these so-called white people today. These Americans, the British, Europeans, the Russians, the South Afrikaners, those people dwelling in the Holy Land right now, the small hats, etc., etc. And besides that, they are the wicked, according to the scriptures, the border of wickedness in Malachi 1 verse 4, and the wicked whom the earth has been given into the hands of in Job 9 verse 24, the ultimate ungodly people out here. And while the true children of Israel, who are known as the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans today, are sinners, well, the majority of our people are sinners, hence why we're in the condition we're in, because we transgress the laws, statutes, and commandments of the scriptures and are under the curses of Deuteronomy 28. When the kingdom of heaven is established, beginning with the elect of the nation of Israel, who are doing whatever they can right now to come back to their power, Yahweh Bahasham Yahawashi, and repent and follow the laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of their abilities. And then the benefits of the kingdom are going to be passed on to the rest of the nation of Israel when they're reborn righteous in the kingdom. We're no longer going to be sinners. We're going to be righteous. The children of Israel have a place of repentance. But as for you Edomites, as pursuant to Hebrews chapter 12, verses 16 to 17, you have no place of repentance. Verse 6, the inheritance of sinners' children shall perish, and their posterity shall have a perpetual reproach. And we can see that the inheritance of these Edomites, this system that they built up, beginning with their coming back into power at the Renaissance, America, these European countries, these other governments they've set up are perishing right before their very eyes. Their economies are on the verge of collapse. Their birth rates are declining. The list goes on. And when you're in the kingdom of heaven as slaves under the children of Israel, you're going to have no inheritance anymore. Your inheritance is going to be punishment for afflicting the children of Israel. And you're going to have that perpetual reproach as the biblical Edomites. You're no longer going to be known as Americans, British, Europeans, or Russians, or anything like that. And you're going to be in that hardcore bondage and slavery. Verse 7, the children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake. And this is the main point I wanted to get into with this verse, because in this video, I'm going to preface this clip from the African Diaspora News Channel titled, White Woman Says White People Must Learn How Not to Be Racist by Studying History. And as we'll see in this clip, this so-called white woman, this Edomite woman, is telling her Edomite brothers and sisters that, look, we messed over these minorities, mainly these so-called black people, really the tribe of Judah. And this is what we need to do to make things better so that everybody can prosper and live at peace. She's seeing the heat and probably feeling the heat for her so-called white skin and this system of so-called white or Edomite supremacy that's been set up with all these people around the planet starting to condemn them for it and saying, look, Due to this system you've set up, this is why all these issues are taking place on the face of the earth. But look, there's going to be no coming to terms with things or a peaceful get together of everybody. That's not what's prophesied in the scriptures. What's prophesied in the scriptures is that everyone that has come against the nation of Israel is going to be recompensed for it. This is Jeremiah 30, verse 16. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, which you can read about in Psalms chapter 83, the table of heathen nations that confederated themselves against the nation of Israel to try and cut them off from being a nation. And at the head of that list are the biblical Edomites. Every one of them shall go into captivity, slavery, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. Point blank, period. And to those people out there that'll say, oh, Jeremiah's in the Old Testament, that doesn't matter anymore because we're in the New Testament. Well, let's go to the last book of the New Testament, Revelation chapter 13, verses 9 to 10. And this is plain. There's no other way you can interpret it or try to reinterpret it. As it says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. The transatlantic slave trade. He that killeth with the sword. Lynchings. The Jim Crow era. The Reconstruction era. All those Israelites that were killed during the times of slavery. These police shooting down our men, women, and children down dead in the streets. Planned Parenthoods, advocating for our women to delete their children, them pushing hip hop, rap, thug, and black culture on us to further destroy our societies, them putting poisonous food and water into our communities to kill our people off. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints, the patience and the faith of the elect of the nation of Israel right now, diligently waiting for the second coming of Yahushua Hamashiach, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus Christ, to save the elect and put an end to the rulership of these heathen nations, chiefly these Edomites, and begin establishing the kingdom of heaven, where he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword, and he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. This is true reparations according to the scriptures. There's going to be no peaceful get-together or we are the world or one nation of people or we're all humans, we all bleed red. All that BS has been pushed by this serpent, the devil, that deceiver, that the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan on the planet Earth, these Edomites. But now let's play this clip. This is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes. And also, so-called black people, so-called African Americans in America, we're not African. We're the children of Israel. We come from the line of Shem, through Abraham, through Isaac, through Jacob, unto the rest of the 12 tribes. Those people over in so-called Africa are Hamites, who come from the line of Ham. And really, that continent of Africa is the land of Ham. The term Africa goes back to a Roman Edomite named Scipio Africanus. But now let's play this clip.
Watch this video as a woman by the name of Natalie on TikTok describes what white people can do to help liberate black people, for a lack of better words. Check it out.
Again, the children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake.
If white boys and white men were being brutalized and murdered by police officers over and over again, would this country stand for it? And if the books I read and history lessons I was taught growing up were banned because they focused on my history, Would this country stand for it? No. As Tyree Nichols is buried and Black History Month begins, we as white people must begin to connect the dots between the past and the present if we are to have a future where all can thrive. Questions to ask ourselves involve, why are so many of us clinging to oppressive systems that benefit the few and not the many? And are white people afraid of becoming the racial minority in this country? Why? Are minorities treated badly or something? We will not be able to
And we can answer that question through the scriptures, while the majority of Edomites cling unto this system of so-called white supremacy that oppresses so-called minorities, chiefly the children of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You Edomites in your spirit are adverse and are adversaries to the children of Israel. As it says in Genesis chapter 25, 2 nations of people are in thy womb, and 2 manners of people, with 2 different dispositions. And when you read in Genesis chapter 25, Rebekah said that she felt the children fighting in her womb. The children of Israel and the children of Edom were never meant to get together or be friends and at peace. We are adversaries. Now I'm going to go to Ezekiel chapter 35, and I'm going to start at verse 1. And the header reads, prophesy against Mount Seir. And just as Jerusalem is a people before it's a place, Mount Seir is a people before it's a place. So this is speaking to the entire nation of Esau, Edom. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it. Now I'm going to jump down to verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. And when you go to Genesis 27, one of the blessings of Esau and to his children would be the sword. Hence why they have the most powerful militaries on the face of the earth right now. And has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. And that's talking about after slavery. You Edomites just kept oppressing the children of Israel. You had the Reconstruction era, the Jim Crow era, the Civil Rights era, the war on drugs, all the way up until today, where our people are still second-class citizens in this country. The first fired, the last hired, looked at niggers, spics, and tontos, living in the worst neighborhoods, getting the worst food and water, and getting gunned down by these cops out here. But the point I wanted to hearken in on is where it said, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. Let's go into that word perpetual in the Strongs, which is H5769. Olam. And when we go into the outline of biblical usage, long, duration, antiquity, futurity. So in the past, all the way to the present and the future, forever, ever, everlasting, evermore, perpetual, old, ancient, ancient time, long time, of past, of future, forever, always, continuous existence, perpetual, everlasting, indefinite or unending, future, eternity. It's in you Edomites' spirits to be at adversity with the children of Israel. Like I just said in Genesis chapter 25, 2 manner of people were in the womb of Rebekah, and our forefathers were fighting in the womb. And you Edomites have this very same spirit up until this day. And the reason, and to further show why these Edomites are adverse with you Israelites, is because our forefather Jacob supplanted the blessing and the birthright to the kingdom of heaven from their forefather Esau. This is Genesis 27, verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart or his mind, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And the children of Esau, Edom, man, woman, and child, have that same spiritual sentiment unto this very day, that perpetual hatred. So, again, there's no peace, there's no reconciliation, there's no coming together. The only so-called reparations and justice that the children of Israel are going to receive is when we have you Edomites as our slaves in the kingdom of heaven. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. And you can see that she's trying to, make amends and try to tell her fellow Edomite brothers and sisters what they can do to try to make peace for the historical wrongs of her forefathers and even her people today. This is Job 20, verse 10. His children shall seek to please the poor. This is what we can do. We can talk about giving them reparations. And as she's about to say in this clip, hey, you so-called white people can read these books to help us, better understand the condition of so-called minorities so we can start making things better and come together. But as it says, and his hands shall restore their goods. We're going to get everything you Edomites took from us, and even then some, when the kingdom of heaven is established. All they that spoil thee shall be a spoil. All they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey.
Tear down systemic racism until white people start acknowledging our role and lead the way. If you're not sure how to help or where to start or even what to say, here's a few books I highly recommend. How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram Kendi. I also love this book, Actually Anything by Bell Hooks, but Bone Black is an excellent place to start. There are so many resources out there. So start Googling, start following activists, start educating yourselves, because systemic racism is a cancer eating this country. And until we recognize that none of us are free, until all of us are free, this sick cycle of suffering will just continue, and this cycle harms us all. And that, my friends, is a fact.
So as you heard her say, they need to educate themselves. And she gave a couple of books. I'm not really too sure about some of them, but whatever. If that's what they need to educate themselves in order to help liberate black people, then I'm with it. Now, I know some people...
And they can't educate themselves or liberate so-called black people. If you're waiting for so-called white people to come to terms with their past and do things to help you out, you're a coon, and it's as simple as that. Again, the only reparations to come is through Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and prophecy being fulfilled with these Edomites going into slavery underneath us. Let me see. Where do I want to go to? Go to Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. Because again, so-called white people, Edomites, aren't going to be the ones to, help the situation or the plight of the children of Israel. Remember, they have that perpetual hatred in their spirit towards the children of Israel. The only reparations, salvation, and redemption, getting the children of Israel out of this lower state we're in, is through our power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. And this isn't talking about ancient Egypt, which from the land of Israel, you don't need ships to get there. You can walk there. You can travel there in a caravan, however you want to put it. This is talking about spiritual Egypt as pursuant to Revelation 11, verse 8. The United States of America, which, how did the children of Israel get here? Hey, the southern kingdom, or the so-called Negroes, were brought here by slave ships. And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. and ye shall be sold, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. And Israelite men, women, and children were sold on the auctioning blocks during slavery. Families were broken up, you name it, and no man shall buy you. And that doesn't literally mean that the children of Israel willingly put themselves on the auctioning blocks to sell themselves and no man bought them. Just use common sense. At what point in history did any nation of people ever willingly sell themselves into slavery? Exactly. Now let's get better understanding on that last statement. Let's go to that word buy in the Strong's, which is H7069.
Strong's H 7069. Kana. Kana.
Kana. Now let's go into the outline of biblical usage. To get, acquire, create, buy, possess. To get, acquire, obtain. But here's the real definition for it: of God originating, creating, redeeming his people. So what that statement should read is that no man shall redeem you out of your captivity. That's why every movement the Israelites tried to do to get themselves out of their low position never worked out. Marcus Garvey didn't work out, Malcolm X, and damn sure Martin Luther King Jr., who was just a damn agent of the Rothschilds to bring in so-called equality, which just further ruined the Israelite community and broke up families and helped to put us in this situation that we're in right now. Jake tried to build up their communities like Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Rosewood. But then what happened? Hey, these Edomites burnt down and destroyed those communities. The only person that is going to buy us back or redeem us is our power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, when Yahushai returns to save the elect and put an end to these heathens, chiefly Esau's rulership. That's true reparations. That's true redemption.
People are probably saying, well, how is that, they can help liberate black people? Well, it's going to
true liberation.
Take white people to understand what they have done to black people, because a lot of times we put that on ourselves. Yeah, there's some things we could do to liberate ourselves by, first having knowledge of self and practicing group economics and all that other stuff.
And that's all bullshit. The black dollar never worked. And again, Jake tried to build their own communities. Examples, Black Wall Street or Rosewood, and look what happened. It all fell apart. The main thing you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans can do to better your position is to come back to your power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, and follow after the laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of your abilities. Because we got in this situation in the first place by being sinners unto our power, not following after the laws, statutes, and commandments. Hence, the curses of Deuteronomy 28 were put on us.
On us, but we didn't create racism. We don't have control of white supremacy. White people do. And let's keep it real, they run and control things in this country. And so she's right. They are going to have getting rid of race.
And to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans out there, again, you shouldn't be expecting any so-called white people to come to your help, or that this country is your future. Really, this world and its system is your future. As it says in Micah chapter 2, verse 10, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. It shall pollute you and destroy you. We're in America to serve our captivity and punishment. And these Edomites have every right to enjoy what's left of their system, because after they're taken out of power, hey, our kingdom's going to be established. Our world or rulership's going to be established, and they're going to be the second-class citizens. They're going to be the slaves. They're going to be the new niggers.
In which, let's keep it 100.
Thugs, scumbags, you name it.
That'll probably never go away. I think it's a cute idea in theory, But
Let's run that back a little bit.
Racism. We don't have control of white supremacy. White people do. And let's keep it real, they run and control things in this country. And so she's right. They are going to have getting rid of racism, which, you know, let's keep it 100. That'll probably never go away. I think it's a cute idea in theory, but it's not on us as black people. It's on.
And she's right. That animosity that so-called white people or Edomites have towards you Israelites is never going to go away. Remember in Ezekiel chapter 35, that perpetual hatred that they have towards you Israelites. Even when we have them in slavery in the kingdom of heaven, they're still going to hate us, but they won't be able to do anything about it because they're going to be underneath our feet, underneath our boot heels, sandal heels.
Them. She also asked the question, like, what are we afraid of? Are we afraid of, you know, basically being annihilated? And we know the late Dr. Francis Cress Welsing talked about that, genetic annihilation. Of course they're afraid of that. They're afraid because they see their numbers dwindling. They see the planet browning and all of that. And so that right there is why I say I don't think racism will go away, because they're not trying to go away.
And at the end of, when everything's said and done, you Edomites will be annihilated. And you already are the minority, the true minorities on the planet. This is Obadiah chapter 1. I'm going to start at verse 1. And this whole book is dedicated to you Edomites. And the header reads, Edom will be humbled. The vision of Obadiah. Thus said the Lord Yahweh concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Verse 2, Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. And that has a twofold meaning. On the one hand, you're the minority, the smallest nation of people on the planet. And on the other hand, your reputation is small among the heathen, and you are greatly despised. These people across the planet are starting to wake up to the fact that all these major problems on the face of the earth can be traced back to somebody with so-called white skin. Hugo Chavez, the former president of Venezuela, who he was an Israelite, made a famous comment at one of those UN meetings where he said, if you want to see where all the problems on the planet come from, roughly paraphrasing, just look at somebody with blonde hair and blue eyes in a business suit. But now I'm going to jump down to, and really, if you haven't read this whole book, you really should. It's only about 20 verses. But this details the griminess of you Edomites and the recompense you're going to get for coming against your brother, Jacob. I'll start at verse 15. The day of Yahweh and the future, which we're quickly coming into this future. For the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. Read Psalms chapter 83. The table of heathen nations that confederated themselves against the children of Israel. And at the head of that list are you Edomites. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. All thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, ruling over the children of Israel and becoming rich off of them. The country of America was built off of the back of the children of Israel. And then you've got these other heathen nations that come to America and do what? They open up their cheap liquor stores and gas stations, their cheap Chinese stores that feed our people what? Cat meat and owl meat, weave shops, all that. Give our people the lowest of the low to eat, and then what? Become rich, and then go move into nice neighborhoods and send their children to nice schools, living off the backs of our people. Those dogs licking the sores of Lazarus in Luke chapter 16. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yeah, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been, drinking that cup of slavery down to the dregs. And where it says, and they shall be as though they had not been, when the kingdom of heaven is established with the children of Israel in rulership, that's going to be the end of a so-called history for you heathen nations. You're going to be perpetual second-class citizens in the kingdom of heaven. But, hey, you're going to be good. After the first 1,000 years of the kingdom of heaven being built up and established, the heathens outside of the Edomites are going to be allowed to go back to their lands and, live in peace under the laws, statutes, and commandments. They're going to have clean air, clean water, a clean environment, and the family structure back in order with the man at the head and the women and children being subservient to them. But there ain't going to be no other kingdoms, heathen kingdoms, popping up that are going to try to rival the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of Israel. That's a no-go. And if you heathens get out of line in the kingdom of heaven, hey, we're going to judge you for it. Simple as that. But as for the nation of Esau, Edom, after that first 1,000 years, verse 17, but upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. All they that spoiled thee shall be a spoil, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire. Speaking of the southern kingdom, or the so-called Negroes, so-called African Americans, black, West Indians, Jamaicans, and the house of Joseph, a flame. Also the Haitians for the southern kingdom, but the house of Joseph representing the northern kingdom, your so-called Latinos and Native Americans, all 12 tribes being back together in the kingdom of heaven in unity, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh has spoken it. After that first 1,000 years of the kingdom of heaven being built up, like I just said, the other heathens are going to be allowed to go back to their lands and live in peace. But as for every Edomite man, woman, and child, young and old, they're going to be gathered up and permanently culled from this planet by fire, a Basra bonfire, a Basra barbecue, if you will. And that's going to be all she wrote for the nation of Esau, Edom.
They think that, the less of them, then of course they don't have the power. So again, I applaud her for saying that white people need to educate themselves. But the other thing is that'll never happen. Well, I don't know. Y'all tell me, am I being a little bit too pessimistic here? But
no, you're in the right spirit, sister. Hey, they have that perpetual hatred towards us, and it's never going to change, even in the kingdom of heaven. But the only difference is they'll have no more power to exercise their hatred towards us. We're going to be exercising our hatred towards them. As it says in the book of Isaiah, we're going to meditate terrors on them. But that's the end of this clip. Now I'm going to go to my last precept in Ezekiel chapter 25, verses 12 to 14. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because that Edom hath dealt against the house of Judah, the southern kingdom, so-called Negroes, by taking vengeance, and hath greatly offended, and revenged himself upon them. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I will also stretch out mine hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of Dedan shall fall by the sword. This is going to take place during World War III, when nuclear missiles are going to hit everywhere you Edomites dwell, and the United States of America, spiritual Egypt, as well as Babylon the Great in the scriptures, is going to be completely wiped off the face of the earth by 200 million nuclear missiles. We're just going to turn it into the biblical lake of fire from sea to shining sea, and then a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland afterwards. And the Edomites that remain in these other countries, beginning with the elites, are going to have chains slapped on them so they can begin serving that first 1,000 years building up the kingdom of heaven. And all the Edomites that died in America are going to be reborn through their loins, because reincarnation is biblical, straight into slavery. Verse 14, and I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people, Israel. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. And they shall do in Edom according to mine anger and according to my fury. We're going to have the anger and the fury of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai on us. And the heathens used to call our power Alashadya, the great demon-like power. And every horrific event you can think about that's taken place in human history, from the flood of Noah, World War I, World War II, this upcoming World War III, which is going to go nuclear, was all through the will of the Most High. So imagine that anger and that fury coming straight on you fucking Edomites. And they shall know my vengeance, saith the Lord Yahweh, point blank period. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.